In this video, I'll be showing you how I turned a 100-year-old Burmese Tigerwood antique cabinet into part of my camper van interior. So let's get to it. This is what I did. Right, this is the story behind this cabinet. This cabinet was in my girlfriend's emporium for many, many years. Every time I used to go in and see her, I used to admire the cabinet, and I used to say to her, one day I'm going to have this cabinet, because it's the grain of the wood that got me. I've never seen anything like it. Anyway, long story short, one day I went into the emporium and she said to me, I need to clear some space. Do you want that cabinet? So I brought it home, stuck it in my garage with plans to use it in my house. But then I thought, you know what? I wonder if I can somehow incorporate that into my camper interior. So this is the story of how I did it. The first thing I did was to lose the leg frame base, whatever you call it, the bit on the underneath, because with that on, it would be too tall to go in the van. Then I just stuck it up on my workbench and got to work. Then I had to measure up to see how big it is and if it would even fit in the van and give me enough room to put other things in there. It soon turned out that it was way too long for what I wanted to use it for. So I came to the decision that I had to lose part of the cabinet. So my plan was to cut off the end, so one of the door sections was gone, which leaving just 3 doors. And then I had to try and make that end look like it was kind of meant to be like that, if that makes sense. So yeah, so I got stuck in and started cutting one end off. The plan, first of all, was just to cut the end off, see how it was, and then I would clean it up and cut it back and shape it how I wanted it. But the problem was I also had to cut a drawer in half. So what I had to do with that is cut the drawer in half. Then basically I had to try and build the side of the drawer back on so the drawer would still go in and out. As you can see in the picture, in the bottom left corner, there's a little piece of wood there, which enabled me to put a drawer back in half the size. On the front of each drawer was these little squares of wood going all the way along, made out of the Burmese Tigerwood. So basically I had to take each one of them off individually without breaking them, so I could sand them, clean them up and restain them. Then it was a case of getting to work sanding off all the really, really old embedded varnish that had been on there for a long time to get it back to pure wood again. Now came the fun part, using the Browning wax to stain the wood and try and bring the grain back. As you can see here, even with just the first coat of Browning wax, the Tigerwood grain already starting to pop through. And there we have it, one finished door. Look at the grain in that wood. That's the reason I wanted this in my van. And then it was time to do the same to the cabinet itself. And there we have it, one finished Burmese Tigerwood cabinet, ready to go into the T4. What I also did, which I didn't have in the pictures, is on the very end, the little hangover bit that I cut off, I actually trimmed that back a bit more, and I actually used some wood from the end of the cabinet that I cut off to actually finish that end up. But for some reason, I didn't bother taking pictures of that. So yeah. The next thing I did then was to take the handles that I'd taken off previously, give them a good sand down, clean them up, and then put them back on. And there it is, cabinet looking stunning, if I do say so myself. And next job was to put it in the van. One thing I did want to happen though with this cabinet is I wanted the top of the cabinet to sit flush and level with the bottom of the window on the T4. So what I had to do was I had to make my own little brackets up at the bottom to raise the cabinet up, and then I used a piece of the same tongue and groove that I did with the rest of the interior. I actually put around the bottom to, you know, to seal the gap up at the bottom of it, and then I stained that. And there we go, one Tigerwood cabinet installed in the van, ready for me to do the rest of the interior and build around it, which was a big corner bench seat, like a big horseshoe bench seat thing that I built that also slides out into a double bed. Well, that's it for this little video. Next video, I'll be showing you how I made my U-shape bench seat, which actually slides out into a double bed, and even how I upholstered it. Thanks for watching.